Hello, everyone. This is Zami Eccles-Irwin from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the director of the Oregon Short Film Festival. We are gearing up for our fall 2024 screening, which is going to take place on November 10th at the beautiful, historic Clinton Street Theater in Portland, Oregon. It's going to be a day of networking, screenings, refreshments. Please come down and check it out. There's going to be tons of great stuff. And to get ready for that, we are talking with some of our participating filmmakers. So today we are talking to Cuchulain Kelly. Did I say that right?
Cuchulain Kelly.
Cuchulain Kelly, who is the creator, music director, writer, everything behind this incredible film, Minute to Win It. So, Cuchulain, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thanks for having me, Zami.
Minute to Win It is a super unique film. I haven't seen anything like it, and I want to know how did you come up with this idea?
Wow. So it started with the music. I didn't intend to make a film. Minute to Win It was kind of born out of the pandemic when I was online kind of all day, every day, and into the night. Sorry, my dog's shaking over here.
All good.
If you can hear that. And at the time, the various social media platforms could only post videos that were 60 seconds long at most. And so my wife was like, when we were on a walk, she was like, you should just make an album of songs that are 60 seconds long and just fit everything. Because everybody was doing that. It was just like super short, like not even songs for an album, but just like little, glitchy or fun little buzzwordy
Totally.
skits that were kind of musical or mostly just for the visuals and like all psychedelic. I remember
Totally.
in like 2020 and 2021, TikTok exploded. Very much influenced by, the length of videos that could be uploaded to TikTok. And so then at the beginning of 2021, every day I sat down to write what I call a bad poem. And which is just, you sit down and you write a bad poem and it's like, it's going to be bad. I'm just going to write it. And then did that for 3 months and had 60, 70, 80 song ideas, poems turned into songs, and whittled that down. At first it was like 50 and then it became like 30. And now it ended at I tried to get it down to 15, but it's at 20 songs that are each exactly 60 seconds long. Recorded right here in this studio, this room that I'm sitting in.
Nice.
Which is just the spare bedroom in the house that I live in Eugene, Oregon. It felt very visual to me. A lot of them felt like they wanted visuals, and I mean, I guess obviously everything that's going on social media and TikTok, like this interview,
Right.
needs video content.
Exactly.
And so I started making them one at a time. The first one that started was the Blueberry Pies one. And then there's kind of like these messages that run throughout the songs that I found. And so it kind of made sense for me they're kind of like a loosely tied story. Make it a very, very loose narrative. Yeah, I had trouble actually. You said you haven't seen anything like it. I appreciate you saying something like that. It fits in a weird box. It doesn't really fit in, because I when I perform live concerts, I often have some of the visuals, some of the videos playing timed with the music, but it doesn't. That feels weird. Like that's, a lot of times people, it's kind of like, I'm the soundtrack to this silent film that I've made.
Right.
But then also with music or with film festivals, I've submitted to a couple. It also doesn't quite fit in that box because it's like kind of a web series. It's kind of a social media thing. It's kind of a movie. It's kind of an album film. Yeah, I don't know. It's honestly, I worked on it for like better part of 3 years, like the first year and a half making the music and the second year and a half making the film. And it is definitely one of the things that I'm most proud of, but also one of the more perplexing things, because it's weird. It doesn't. Yeah. Okay. That's
Well, it's interesting. You're an established artist, and now you're confronting this new work that even perplexes you. I think that's interesting. It's
mm,
it's giving me reminiscence of a Beatles album film or something like that. I'm
yeah.
curious though about putting the visuals to it. Your songs are very kind of visual on themselves. I feel like the way that you tell the story and the way that you describe stuff, it already creates a picture. So what was it like creating visuals that either play off that or, mirror that? What was that process like?
Oh, great question, Sammy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You watched, you listened, and I can tell, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, that's very much something I struggle with this project because, for example, one candy bar tells the story of this one teeny tiny little interaction at Halloween where this kid comes up and um, thinks about lying to get two candy bars out of the person who's trick or treating from, and ultimately decides not to, but then runs away and just has one candy bar. And yeah, just by itself, the song kind of tells that story and is very, very, very visual. And so there's a couple of songs that are like that. A couple of songs that are a little bit more abstract, I guess, a little bit more emotive, or a couple instrumental pieces too. For that song, we went with the direct, like, depict what the song is saying
Right.
as
Okay.
as as truthfully, as faithfully as possible. Um, that's how that mini music video part of the Minute to Win It thing turned out. Um, for others, it was like a little bit more abstract, and so you could either paste a narrative onto it, like Big Leagues is this baseball one, and the it's kind of like a meditation. The song is a meditation on feeling out of your league, I guess. And so there's just so much you can do with that visually. There is no narrative to the song in this movie. It's like it's a baseball game. I'm playing a baseball game against myself, um, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun to do.
Totally.
Um, then the two that I've gotten actually the most reception kind of fall into that latter category, the abstract kind of emotional thing that the videos kind of added a story, which I
Totally.
think is that's the platonic ideal for a music video, when the music video can add something
Okay. Yeah.
to the song. And those two are Inauguration Day and The Weight of the World, which were both screened at the Portland Festival for Cinema, Animation, and Technology,
Nice.
because they're both kind of stop motion narratives. And yeah, anyways, yeah, I think those are maybe my favorites, where
Totally.
the video does more. It's
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting too that the scope of this is so broad, where you have multiple different approaches, but also you have two stop motion animated films. Did you know going into it? It sounds like you're just making one film at a time. Maybe this concept did this kind of cement all at once, or did you just go through the songs and said, I'm going to do stop motion for this one, or I'm going to do an
Mm.
allegory for this one?
Yeah. Uh, it did not cement all at once.
Okay,
That's the shortest way I can put this answer. The long answer is that it was very messy and organic, and did not. Yeah, very much learned by doing the process. I had this idea like after the music was pretty much done, which was beginning of 2022 or so. Um, I was like, it would be really cool if each of these had their own little, like, TikTok,
right.
something, even if it's just like a short couple second loop that could just go like this. And then our fridge just died. Our fridge died, and we had like 20 pounds of frozen blueberries in the freezer that were going bad. And I was like, I have an idea. And so my wife, total MVP here, uh, spent 6 hours that day taking all the blueberries and baking them into 6 different pies, and also cutting out the messages of the music video for "Bless Your Heart," which kind of felt like it was like this cheeky, like Southern, cutesy little kind of
Totally.
tongue in cheek, poking fun at what my mom and other Southern moms say. Not just moms, Southern people say "bless your heart" all the time. And then we filmed it, and I was like, "This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted." It was kind of like this diner, like you're being served something really sweet, bless your heart, but oh, that actually means I don't think you're very smart. So it's these blueberries that are spoiling. Um, and I was like, okay, if we did it for this, we can probably do videos for all the rest of them too.
Right.
And sometimes you were asking, did it all come together all at once? And obviously the answer to that is no. A couple of the videos, there were multiple versions, like the weight of the world one, which I think is maybe what you're referencing when you're saying allegory. The one where it's a stop motion thing.
Totally.
The guy with the little globe on his shoulder, kind of Sisyphus ish. He I made a whole other music video about that where it was live action. It was me in this bright red tracksuit at just lifting weights at the gym, and all the weights turn into globes.
I love that. A second version.
It was not the vibe. It was like it
Okay.
was very fun to make and very exhausting to make. My wife also helped film some of that, so shout out to her. Um, but what actually ended up being the film turned out to be like way better. Um, yeah, if you watch it through, I mean, I've watched it through a couple times through, I mean, the editing process and through a couple different screenings now at various private events. It's clear to me that it came together in kind of like a scattershot, haphazard way,
Hmm.
in this like web series way.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but I've gotten some feedback that it's like, oh, this is clearly like, the rhythm of a year, and it's like, oh, okay. Anyways,
Totally. I feel like the flow feels like there's something going on, and the way that it
mhm,
begins and ends feels like a whole thing is closing.
hmm.
And is that it's interesting. It sounds like that's just sort of a process of you arranging the videos and the songs in a specific way, but it feels cohesive.
No, I'm so glad you say that. I appreciate that.
Um, well, I'm curious. Tell me, what were some of the difficulties of this? You have so many different film styles. It took 3 years of this process. Well, what did you learn from this, and what were the kind of challenges that you encountered?
I learned a lot, and people ask me this all the time. And the easiest thing that I learned is that songs should probably not be 1 minute long. Um, yeah,
Okay.
from the song making, from the music making perspective, before we even get to the video, it was very clear to me that like a handful of the songs like felt complete and done at the 1 minute mark. It was like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Like not feeling it today, like got you don't want any more, you don't want any less. Hard Year was like that should clearly be like a 3.5, 4 minute song, and then, anyways, whatever. So putting that weird restriction, that box on the songs, I learned is, I mean, it was very creatively productive, but it's like very frustrating at times. Like, oh my
Right.
god, we got to speed it up just a little bit in order to get under the 60-second mark. Um, what did I learn? I mean, I'm not really a filmmaker. I don't consider myself. Um, and I filmed everything on this iPhone right here.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
with the exception of the dance music video, that was I hired my friend Maceo in town in Eugene. He's got a really great, you know, DSLR, couple cameras.
Word.
Um, but I learned about focusing and lighting, and like learned so much about editing in DaVinci Resolve.
Okay. Nice.
So just kind of had to learn all of that. I learned anybody can do it as long as they give enough time to it. um, yeah, maybe that's the moral of the story. Maybe that's the takeaway. You can do anything as long as you put your mind to it and give yourself 3 years.
Well, I love that. And that's I think that's very valuable information to people who are aspiring to make films and short films because yeah, there's so many people that are diving in head first into stuff they don't understand. But
Hmm.
if they give it years and years, they'll have something, and that's usually how long things take, especially during COVID. You're
Totally.
working very solo most of the time, and you have to work just a little day and day.
Right.
I think that's cool. You are not a filmmaker, but you endeavored to make this and you jumped in, and by virtue of that you've now become familiar with all these different aspects: lighting, acting, script writing, you're editing on DaVinci. I think that's so cool, and that's kind of how to broaden your horizon with the kind of art you want to make. Which leads me to my question here: is what do you have next? Do you have any more film projects in the works? Did you get the bug?
I totally got the bug. I mean,
Okay.
especially, I mean, I'm looking forward to the festival. What is it? Not this Sunday, but next Sunday, or maybe it is
Yeah.
this Sunday. Um, yeah, I'll be there, and I'm looking forward to that. This will be my second film festival I've attended in person,
Nice.
and I just thought the energy was so cool. You get to see all this art that people have been working on for
Totally.
years and years and years in a very special way. Um, so I kind of got the bug in that sense. I was just like, oh man, I kind of want to hang out at film festivals all the time, but you can only do that if, well, anybody can do that, really. You should do that. You should come hang out at this film festival.
Yes, you
Um,
should.
no, but did I get the bug? People have seen some of the stop motion things and been like, hey, this is really cool. Would you want to make a stop motion film for me? And I was like, yeah, I would love to do that. I had a blast. I'd learned a lot and have never done that before. Would 100% do things differently this next time. Um, yeah, it's interesting. So this album, Minute to Win It, the audio dropped a year ago, last November,
Okay.
and then the the installments came out 1 week at a time this year online, and the full film is not out yet. Really, I guess actually one of the debuts is going to be this festival
Okay. Right
next
on.
Sunday. Um, Actually, I can 100%, despite with the exception of a couple of private screenings, this Minute to Win It in full in a theater, this will be the first time.
That's exciting. So you haven't seen it on the big screen yet?
Have not seen the whole thing on the big screen.
Okay. Right on. That's
I've
very exciting.
We did a hotel room screening where we like threw up a white bed sheet and
Oh,
projected
nice.
it.
Projected it.
So I've seen it on that, but no, not on the big screen yet. Um, and I have my next album is coming out on Valentine's Day. It's
Okay.
an album of love songs, and for one reason or another, it just has not felt as though it needs the videos. It needs as many videos as this piece does or did. So yeah, next album's coming out on Valentine's Day called Window Seat. I
Windows
did
seat. Okay.
I did like one music video for it, and that's probably all I'm gonna
Okay. Well,
do.
yeah. One music video for the single or whatever. I think
Yeah,
that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, but it also very different style, very different vibe.
Totally. Longer than
Um,
60-second songs.
right. Yeah. That song, the lead single, is 5.5 minutes long. So it's
Damn.
like
Okay. You want to get it all out. You're like, I'm tired of this 60-second box. We make a long one. We can
everybody
jam.
shut up and listen to me for 10 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, well, that's so cool. So you already have another music video. Did you shoot the window seat music video?
Yeah, it's kind of, well, everybody should go check it out, I guess. But
Nice. Okay.
I shot it on this guy,
UV tape.
like a JVC, like from the 90s tape
Sick.
camcorder.
Okay, so
That
it's got that cool look.
Yeah, and got that off of Facebook Marketplace for $15, and just
Hell yeah.
took me and my wife went on a bike ride around town here in Eugene, Oregon, and just was like kind of filming.
I
And
love that. Sounds sort of nostalgic and dreamlike.
it was,
Okay. And
yeah.
that's going to be released around Valentine's Day. We can see that.
Well, the music video is already out,
Oh,
but
okay, right on.
the album, it comes out on Valentine's Day.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Well, that's so exciting. So you already have continued on with filmmaking, and music seems like it'll always be pouring out of you.
no, well, one way or another, I anticipate that you're probably right. Yeah, exactly.
It's a blessing, it's a curse.
Blessing and a curse. That's right.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say about Minute to Win It?
I am very grateful that it exists. Um, I should say that halfway through making um, the music, halfway through making the music in 2021, what I do, part of my process is like I send it to like different musicians that are sometimes collaborators, sometimes play on the songs, and
Okay.
just to like bounce ideas off of them. And one of them was like, "Hey, do you know about Whack World by
Heck,
Tierra Whack?" So Tierra Whack is this amazing rap artist. People should go listen to her. And apparently in like 2014 2014, no, 2016, somewhere in there, mid 20-teens, she released an album called Whack World, which had 15 songs and they were all a minute long. And it was also uh, a very visual album too.
Really? Okay.
And I
Huh.
think it's amazing. And I heartily encourage people to go look at it. When I at the onset of this project, um, I did not know about that album, and but have drawn inspiration from it uh, since. And
Okay.
um, yeah, she is a huge inspiration, and yeah, I've gotten some. I feel like they're two very different projects. Some people have made some comparisons, um, but yeah, um, yeah, Minute to Win It. I'm super proud of it, um, and yeah, just very grateful to have been able to make it.
Totally. Well, I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be a great screening on November 10th at the Oregon Short Film Festival. I feel like this movie's gonna come on, and the music's so catchy. It's got a great heart and soul to it, so people will get latched into that respect. They're gonna be intrigued by how quickly the ideas change. There's no redundancies in that film. I think it's gonna be just a really great time, especially bookended by maybe a weird horror film and then like a documentary about whales. We're just going to have this sort of musical interlude to just sit back and enjoy.
This weird thing. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for having me as a part of it. I'm very much looking forward to it, and hopefully, I'll get to meet you in person. My wife and
Absolutely.
I have tickets, so
Excellent.
we'll be there.
Well, that's so
Yeah.
exciting. Thank you so much for talking with me, man. And I'm looking forward to your next album and more minute long songs. You gotta do a follow up album.
Yeah. Well, there are a handful of B-sides that didn't make the
There we go.
actual album, so I've been toying with the idea of releasing those maybe. But yeah.
Totally. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. I'll see you there.
All right. Thanks to you so much, Xiaomi.
Take care.
Cool and signing off. Have a good day.